You know, all of us need to memorize something every once in a while. Sometimes it's a long-term skill like learning a new language, or sometimes you just need to learn a bunch of things really fast. Like that dreaded history exam that you procrastinated to the last minute and now are remembering is due in 2 days. Either way, it's best to work smarter, not harder. I'll show you a super easy, foolproof system that saves time, make understanding exam material easier, and put you in the best possible position to learn things the fastest way possible. You can really do so many things. The two things I want to cover today are Anki and ChatGPT. ChatGPT is known as a large language model, which basically means it can understand the way we humans talk incredibly well. It's been trained on a massive amount of text, allowing it to learn grammar, vocabulary, and even some common sense reasoning. ChatGPT can be used to create blog posts, emails, essays, basic Q&A, topic summarization, and homework assignments. This tech was so revolutionary that when it was first released, there was a long waitlist, and keeping up with the OpenAI Discord community was pretty much the best way to stay informed. And something you'd commonly see in there was people moaning about not being able to complete their homework because the servers were being overwhelmed. And to supercharge the progress further, we've got Anki, a tool that I've personally used for many years and can vouch for, as it's really effective at how fast I've learned certain things I've been really interested in. When installed, you can create a series of digital flashcards, like those we used to have in school, but on your computer, with an algorithm that decides when it's time to study each one. To use Anki, you first create a deck and add flashcards to it. Then, whenever you want to study your cards, open Anki and click Study Now. You will then be shown the question on the front of each card, and then the answer on the back is revealed. Based on how well you remember each card, you can select options like good, hard, easy, or set the time frame of when it will be shown to you again. If you answer a question incorrectly, you can click Again, and Anki will repeat the question in 10 minutes. If you need to find the specific answer, you can use the Browse section in Anki. I find the more flashcards I've made with it, the more creative I've been with them. Based on my experience of learning different aspects of programming in Python, I have found that having multiple flashcards relating to the same topic helps solidify what you're trying to learn. You can also add third-party plugins for Anki for everything you need. There are a ton of them out there. Well, not literally, but let's just say there's a lot. I personally use one that formats code so it looks nice, but you can get plugins that add features like putting labels over images or using text-to-speech. A must if you're learning to speak a different language and need to actually say those words out loud. The thing I was too lazy to do with Italian, hence I gave up earlier. If you do decide you want to use Anki to learn another language though, look up Awesome TTS. By default, there are only 2 voices, which are free, but you can pay $5 for premium voices. Now let's discuss the pros and cons of using ChatGPT. One of the limitations of ChatGPT is its inability to create images. While OpenAI's previous product, DALL-E, was able to make images, it may not be suitable for tasks such as learning Adobe software or 3D modeling. To overcome this, a workaround is to capture screenshots or record videos that can be later converted into GIFs and added to Anki flashcards later. It is worth noting that due to ChatGPT's December 2021 knowledge cutoff date, the instructions or info may be outdated, so it is crucial to approach factual information with caution and double check the facts yourself before adding them to your flashcards. You can use ChatGPT to test your knowledge by asking multiple questions about the same concepts using different wording. Another good reason to double check your facts is that ChatGPT has a tendency to create hallucinated responses, which means it can occasionally provide incorrect or made up information. Therefore, it is necessary to proofread and fact-check the responses before taking them without a grain of salt. Moving on to Anki, let's explore its strengths and weaknesses. Anki's digital flashcards and spaced repetition is highly effective for remembering information for a longer duration. By reviewing flashcards on the right amount of days apart, you can strengthen your learning of whatever material you're using. The creative process of making these flashcards is that it allows you to customize them to your particular learning needs, but it does have its limitations questions too. It can be time consuming to create a large number of flashcards, especially if you aim to thoroughly cover the topic. Additionally, Anki relies on your active input and dedication to reviewing the flashcards regularly for the best results. Falling behind on reviewing cards may make it harder to remember what you've learned, especially as time goes on. You will have a chance to catch up as cards build up, however. I also know from personal experience that you'll end up losing motivation, and it has a knock-on effect when you know you have so much catching up to do. Now let's discuss a step-by-step strategy on how to effectively use Anki and ChatGPT together. Step 1. Identify the skill or whatever it is you want to learn. Find out the particular areas or topics within that subject that you need to focus on. If you already have the information that you need to learn, such as an exam or course material, copy and paste it into ChatGPT. If you have physical books and your text is not digital, you may want to try one of the image to text converters you can find online and then dump it into ChatGPT. If you do not have an existing text and say you just want to learn about a specific topic or a new language, or perhaps you just want to generate more questions for a job interview, ask questions related to the subject matter and review the responses made by ChatGPT. However, be wary and fact check the information before considering it reliable. Step 3. Ask ChatGPT to provide flashcards with matching answers based on the given info. You can request a specific number or range of flashcards judging by the amount of material covered, or you could skim and compare the material to the given flashcards. And if you feel like some info is not covered in general, prompt ChatGPT to create additional flashcards. You may ask it to create multiple flashcards for the same subtopic and try to create every card relative to one another, like a spider's web of information. You may then want to look over the questions and answers and ask ChatGPT to simplify the wording to make it easy to memorize. Just make sure it still pertains the same meaning and does not weed out any essential terms that may come up in the exam. Step 4. Once you have the flashcards with questions and answers, copy them from ChatGPT to Anki. You can then customize the wording or add images to the cards. Sometimes I'll literally just use screenshots of other things. Step 5. You are now ready to study your deck. You could either customize settings for fast learning for those coming in a day or two, or you could use the default method to learn the cards over a period of time and keep studying your cards daily. Make the time for reviewing your flashcards and try to keep a regular routine. This will help solidify your knowledge over time. I've never actually used this plugin myself before testing it during this recording, but this is a popular one for the Anki subreddit, though I might keep this one actually. If you feel the need to change your flashcards to more correctly describe things or to ask a better question, you should. It'll help you learn faster, changing things up and whatnot. And finally, you can use ChatGPT to test yourself. Ask for explanations in different ways and gain a deeper understanding of the subject matter. Remember, whatever you learn can remain stored in Anki for future learning. I find myself using the browse screen quite often, especially when I've only just added the flashcards and haven't quite committed them to memory yet. So let's go ahead and show an example of this in action. Have you ever thought about using Wikipedia while researching a topic for university, only to make the simplest thing sound like it was discovered by Einstein? Sure, if you look at this, you might be put off trying to learn about koalas forever, but if we back this into ChatGPT, ask it to give us a friendly introduction, we can ask it to come up with easier flashcards that are quicker to digest. But then you might want to ask questions about those flashcards to narrow down that jargon for later on. You can use ChatGPT to explain something in layman's terms right off the bat without looking it up first, but I like to be safe and make sure I'm finding some kind of official source in case ChatGPT tries to tell me that koalas have 6 legs or some shit. Here's another example. Let's say you're getting ready for a job interview. ChatGPT is here to lend a hand. It provides a wealth of useful information. You will discover essential interview questions, valuable tips for crafting impressive answers, and even examples of successful interview responses. Once I've gathered the right material, I can create personalized Anki flashcards. They might initially seem straightforward, but fear not, I can spruce them up and make them more interactive. The goal is to tailor it to my needs, so I can confidently tackle that interview like a true professional. By using the strengths of both Anki and ChatGPT, you can really speed up the learning process. While ChatGPT may have its limitations such as outdated information and occasional fabrication, it can still provide valuable insights. Anki's flashcards and spaced repetition, on the other hand, can help you focus on long-term attention and a new way to learn things. A word of caution, however, is that schools, colleges and universities and the like are actively working on detecting the use of AI to complete assignments and exams, so it's important to be aware of the potential risks associated solely on the use of AI for academic work. Like, sure, it's probably safer than just copying and pasting from Wikipedia, but I'd still recommend trying to internalize and become confident in your area of expertise instead of just copying and pasting from Chat GPT. So there's the video. Hope you liked it. It was the second video I've made overall, so yeah, do like and subscribe. It kind of motivates me to keep this hobby going, and thanks for watching.